privileged to be your program chair this month. Bill Bailey grew up on the family farm in Southern Columbia County, not California. All right. About 2 miles southeast of Walkerville. His dad had multiple large gardens where they grew many vegetables, including PurpleHull peas. At age 16, Bill bought a pea sheller and earned spending money by shelling peas for the public at 50 cents a bushel. Today, this would be known as processing food and therefore would be illegal. Bill became involved with the PurpleHull Pea Festival in 1992, its third year of existence, and has been its PR guy ever since. He's worked as a radio electronics officer in the Merchant Marine, at several television stations as an operations and maintenance engineer, and as a satellite uplink engineer. He holds bachelor's degrees in radio, TV, and physics, both from Arkansas State University. He also holds an MBA from UALR. His hobby is ham radio. He currently resides back on the family farm with his lovely wife Joyce and their 5 dogs. Bill Daly.
Thank you, Dan. Boy, it's so good to be back. I think I've talked to you guys and gals about 4 or 5 times now. I love your dictionaries. I really love your dictionaries. That is one of the greatest things that I've ever seen. I think it was Steve who came by the KCHE one morning and had the dictionary, and I was looking through it. So that is a great, great project. I see several of my representatives, anyway, the sponsors for the PurpleHull Pea Festival, and thank you all from the bottom of our pea picking heart. Thank you, Tennessee Army Ford. And we really do appreciate it. Since I've been here about 5 times over the years, I know some of you inevitably will hear some stuff that I've said before, because I can't come up with that much stuff in that length of time. But I thought, what can be my theme today? And I've come up with promoting the PurpleHull Pea Festival in the world of changing technology. How many of you know about International PurpleHull Pea Day? Good, because it doesn't exist. But it's about to. June 23rd will be the first annual International PurpleHull Pea Day, as designated by the PurpleHull Pea Appreciation Board, which we are blessed to have them locate in Emerson, Arkansas. So this will be our first International PurpleHull Pea Day. Why did we pick June 23rd? Well, the very first PurpleHull Pea Festival ever was June 23rd. It will never again be June 23rd unless we change the rules, because that was a year in where 1990, there were 5 Saturdays in June. And Glenn Eads, the founder of our festival, came up with the date of June 23rd, and that was, the 23rd was the 4th Saturday in June, but there were 5 Saturdays that year. Now we're all the way to the last Saturday, and the reason we kind of moved it to the last Saturday was to give us a little bit more time to have peas ready, because we're on the edge as it is. So anyway, y'all get ready to celebrate International PurpleHull Pea Day on June 23rd. You'll be hearing about it. You'll be getting press releases about International PurpleHull Pea Day. One of the things that I got to say first, though, I got to compliment Blossom Festival, Ellie and all that bunch, and Cammie, and my gosh, I don't know how you did it. Lots of volunteers. Y'all got a great volunteer base here in this town. That's something I'll do the math. Magnolia has the population about 31 times that of Emerson. We have a volunteer base, but we're a small town. This volunteer base is small. We can always use other people from outside the area, hint, hint. So if anybody wants to help us, please let me know. It's needed, because me and Joe, we're getting old back there. I mean, we've already lost some of our key members who passed on, and then some of us are getting up there in years. But anyway, I appreciate also McNeil Festival on the Rails. They invited me to come be a pork chop judge. I have never eaten pork chops that good in my life. They were wonderful. And I'm not a real pork chop fan, but that was, and there were 23 pork chops to judge, I think. I don't know how you judge 98 steaks, but obviously somebody did, and my hat's off to them. Back in 1990, when the festival first started, Glenn Eads was the idea for the whole thing, the festival and the tilt race. I was not there that year. I was still in the Merchant Marine. I was overseas at the time. I remember in fact, I was in Ethiopia that day. My mother had written me about there's going to be this PurpleHull Pea Festival in Emerson. And I remember being in Ethiopia thinking, I wish I was home. The second year, I was actually attended and saw the event. I saw this tiller race. And I thought, that's got some potential. So I got involved on the third year. Joe was one of the individuals who asked me to get involved. So, and since I'd worked at Channel 4 and Channel 8 and Jonesboro, and I guess I was the logical person to deal with media, even though I was an engineer, which meant I didn't really know what I was doing. So, you got to remember some things back what it was like in 93. 93, or 92 when I got involved, but I found a tape recently of a computer program that was on the radio called On Computers that I know had to be at least 1993, about 1993. Bill Clinton was president. He's mentioned in it, so I know it was at least 93 or later. And you know, in that 2-hour show, there was not one mention of the internet. Not one. And that's only 23 years ago. There was mention of corrupted pad files, of DOS, of CompuServe, but not the internet. So that's how far we've come. What I would do back then, I'll try to get attention, when I first started doing this, I'd try to get attention any way I could. I bought yellow envelopes, bright yellow envelopes, for anything I was sending a press release in. There was a period of time when the post office was selling triangular stamps. Anybody remember those? They only did it that one time, about 92, 93. Triangular stamps. I bought a buttload of those things. And I used those as my stamps for my press releases. I'd stay up all night, write up a press release. I did have a laser printer at that time, an old 286 computer. And I would take it, I'd drive into town, slip a release under the radio stations and under the newspaper, and that was the way communications was handled back then. And remember, we didn't have digital cameras. Everything was still filmed back then. If you wanted to do a press release with a photo, you got to take the picture, get it processed somewhere, and hopefully you might find a 1-hour place somewhere around. It was a whole different world. But that's how it was done. And I would literally send my write up my press releases and put them in the envelopes and mail them to the Shreveport stations, and put them, drive down to Haynesville so they get there one day earlier. I live in an area that's about equal distance between Spring Hill, Emerson, Spring Hill, Haynesville, and Magnolia, almost right in the middle. So that was the way things were done back then. And I would send releases particularly to 3, 6, and 12, and trying to get them here to get some TV coverage. And also Channel 10. That first year, 92, I sent all these, I never got any response, so I was calling them, and kind of in a desperation move, and really thinking nothing will ever happen. I sent one to Channel 8 in Monroe. They were the only ones that showed up that year. That was just an afterthought. But that was the year Ricky Waller, if you don't know Ricky from the Chevrolet place, he had a tiller that, there was only 3 Teslas that showed up that year, by the way. He had a tiller that, fortunately, not for him, but fortunately for us, threw a belt right in the middle of the race, stopped on a dime, and he flew over the handlebars. Made for great video. Made for some absolutely beautiful video. So I knew this thing was going to air at some point in time. Found out from the reporter it was Lewis Redden was the reporter. I found out who was going to, when it was going to air. And Channel 8 was marginal at best, even when you had the antenna pointed in the right direction for it. So I went down with my VHS recorder. We were in a hotel room that night in Ruston and recorded it the next morning. From that video, the next year I made copies and sent out, and we did real well getting response from the next year. But I don't know if it hadn't been for that one reporter showing up that one year from Channel 8, that would have been a whole different story. But anyway, he did, and we finally honored him, Lewis Redden, a couple of years ago with being the Grand Prix Marshal of the Million Tiller Parade. One other thing I learned, in 93, we had the great tiller racing controversy of 93. we had a guy, the winner of the first 3 years, Jason Hines, who had won it all 3 years. Because of that video from '92, when Ricky did his spiel, and we were just tilling on hard ground, and they were bouncing down, and we were thinking, this is too dangerous. So we're going to make a race in plowed ground the next year in '93. Well, that's what we did. But Jason Hines, the 3-time tiller racing champ, who is the only person who had ever actually won the thing before, decided he didn't like that at all, and he dropped out. So I can remember getting on our ham radio and talking to Joe one night, and what are we going to do? And so I thought, well, we'll just go with it, and I'll write a press release about it. And I had gathered up all these newspapers. Like I say, being able to contact entities in the press was much more difficult at that time. Even getting the right addresses to send them to was more difficult. I had gathered up newspapers along my routes through the southeast, and I had copies of the New Orleans Times-Picayune and several other newspapers in Alabama and Florida, whatever. And I'd write these press releases, and I just scattershot news releases out. As a result of this, Jason Hines decided not to race. We had this huge controversy, as the way I played it up anyway, on our hands. We got on the front page of the feature section of the New Orleans Times-Picayune about the tiller race being in a mess. But and we were in the Mobile Register, and I forgot it was just wild. So I figured out this is exactly what Trump is doing. So we beat him to it. Creating some controversy and got us all kind of attention, and so that was my eye-opening experience in that regard. Teddy Allen is a writer down the Shreveport Times. He started writing about us. He was a great help because he was really the first person that wrote about us outside our local area. But I will have to say, probably one of the greatest things that changed in around 2002 when digital cameras came into existence and you had the ability to email pictures. We had a fellow from the Boot Hill of Missouri come down. His name was Hal Miller. Hal was just an amateur photographer, took some absolutely wonderful pictures of the festival. And he did it just on his own volition, came down, gave us a copy of every picture he took. One of those pictures, 2002 was the first year we had a female division, a power pup division of the tiller race. One of them is of Lori Waller, her name is now Lori Francis, coming down the track, and it is a classic photo. That thing has been I've sent that one shot out more times to more places. It's been in the Old Farmer's Almanac, and I've forgotten how many other different publications. But that one picture, a reservoir of good pictures is essential. And nowadays you can make the claim that probably a reservoir of good video is essential as well. I think one of your most valuable people you got in this town is Aaron Street. That photographer, in fact, I think the very best shot, you won, what did you win? 3rd place?
Something like that, yeah.
And for a picture of the tiller race at Spiel. Aaron has probably, I have to give Aaron the tip of the hat for probably having the best shot of the tiller race that ever taken. I think he was working for the Texas County Gazette at that time. But so that's kind of what you need to actually promote something like this in this day and age. I have to say that give you a little update on what's going to happen this year. I'm going to keep it brief and let you maybe ask some questions if you have any. If you're familiar with Steve Sullivan of Channel 7, sports director of Channel 7, he's going to be our Grand Prix Marshal this year. The Million Tiller Parade. Louis Farrakhan was the inspiration for the Million Tiller Parade. It was about the same time we decided we needed to name the parade, and we've never had a million tillers there yet. In fact, in the year 2000, we were exactly 1 million tillers shy. I couldn't believe that particular year no tillers showed up for the parade. We've never had a year like that since or before, but the Million Tiller Parade, what we are trying to do is have a large segment of motorcycles show up. We had, on several years, we've had really some big motorcycle clubs come and join in the parade, and then sit around and wait till 2:30 and see the epitome of rural motorsports in the World Championship Road Retail Race. So we're hoping that maybe some motorcycle, anybody that likes motorcycles, all you got to do is show up. Show up for the parade. Joe's the head of the parade, by the way, and that's all you got to do. Just show up and stick around and watch the retail race. Have anybody ever heard of a group called the PurpleHulls? They're two twin girls, red-headed girls, I guess in their 20s, from Kilgore, Texas, and they are good. I kind of found them in the process of searching about PurpleHull Peas on the internet. But they're coming to be our feature, our main event for the finale of the Pea Stomping Street Dance on Saturday night. And thanks to Ellie back there, our pea shirts are here. You'll be seeing those soon. Again, we're June 25th, last Saturday in June, and International PurpleHull Pea Day is June 23rd, so be ready to celebrate. And I'll take any questions if anybody's got any. I know there's a lot of repetition of what some of you have heard. I'm sure there's some new in here that haven't heard anything. So, yes.
For several years there, one of the champion tillers had a motorcycle engine in it.
Yes.
And it wasn't a case of how fast the tiller would go. It's how fast the guy could keep up with the damn thing.
Well, that's true. Yeah, in fact, we changed the rules 4 or 5, it was long ago, let's see, about 4 or 5 years ago at least, that that particular tiller you're speaking of had absolutely no parts in it that were actually from a real tiller. None. And we revised the rules to make it where at least the gearbox or the tines can be changed. There are mud tines, there are dirt tines. They have different kind of tines. The tines can be customized, but the gearbox from the engine to the tines, I guess that's actually, I don't know, I'm not a transfer something in there that transfers the power from the engine to the tines. Somewhere in there, that has to be from original tiller now. In fact, I think the rule is you can't have an engine over 100 horsepower, but my gosh, you don't need that much anyway. And by the way, the ruling body for tiller racing also happens to be headquartered in Emerson. It's the World Tiller Racing Federation. I haven't said that so long, I've forgotten about it. The World Tiller Racing Federation is headquartered. Commissioner of Tiller Racing is Scott Baker. So, yes.
Hey Bill, have you thought about bringing back the, I guess you could say commercial on there? It's got the jet in it that says it is somewhat modern.
I remember that commercial. And it was, if you heard it in stereo, it was great. It was a commercial, and supposedly there was a tiller racer practicing going down a gravel road, and you could hear the sound of a jet going from one speaker to the other. That was pretty good. I should consider that. Yeah, that was about it. Gosh, that was a long time ago. Yes.
Are you going to serve lunch like you served before?
Yes, the pea mills, they sure will be. That's a big hit. The pea mills, yes.
Wasn't that first track circular?
Well, I'll tell you, I wasn't there the first time. Joe could probably give you a better idea of that. I wasn't. I tell you, I was there the second year though, and as an observer. And they started off on one side of the softball field, went around a stake on the other side, which kind of conjured up images of Ben-Hur, and the chariot scene of Ben-Hur, you know. And that really put me on edge when I saw that. But now an officially sanctioned track by the World Hill Racing Federation, headquartered in Emerson, is 200 feet in length. There have been times when we've had to shorten that due to the fact that the end of the tiller track was a pond when we had a rain. And that particular winner got an asterisk by his name. Yes.
Have you thought about having a traditional category and non-mechanized and having plows and mules?
Ooh, no. We do have a stock tiller division, whether it's unmodified. Almost nobody competes in that. There's prize money to be had. It's not a lot compared to the big guns. Yes.
Do y'all have a race of champions where if you won before you come back and race again?
Never done that. Truthfully, you can have too many races that we've discovered. There's a certain period of time there when tillers, no wonder they don't practice much beforehand because they keep blowing them up or having some other kind of mechanical difficulty. But that happens every year. Inevitably, somebody's tiller collapses or breaks something or blows up. But that's an idea.
Is the Waller family still the Andretti family?
Yes, they are. They are, and the fact is, there's at least 3 different sets of Wallers, I think, involved with it. And one, the Three Creeks Wallers, and then there's the Wallers around Junction City, then there's the Emerson Wallers. How on earth that one family name got into this racing of tillers bracket so prevalent, but I guess it's kind of yeah, you're right, they're the Andretti's, without a doubt. Yeah, Chris.
Bill, you mentioned rain. Have you ever had a complete rain out, and what's the backup plan if there's down?
Not a complete rain out. We've had a rain out 20 minutes into the race. Unfortunately, everybody had run at least one race, so we went by the time. Designated our winner that way. It's normally it's a double elimination. Thank you. But that,
You invited the Hell's Angels motorcycle group?
love to have them. Love to have them. If you know anybody, if you got any connections there. Love to have them. Get as many people as there as we can. Yes.
Bill, do they run on gasoline or do they
Good question.
modify the fuel?
Some of the best running ones, I think, were actually the alcohol burning ones that had alcohol burning engines. We had several years there was alcohol burning engines, and they were fun to watch. But then we've also had an electric one, right, Joe?
Yeah,
Yeah. Had an
battery powered.
electric. It didn't win, but it was kind of interesting what people can come up with, and you never really know. But anyway, that's what Glenn Eads started. And if you're not familiar with Glenn Eads, our founder of our festival and also the tiller race, he used to write for the Brewster Community News and in the Banner News, and he had problems getting people to tell him who went to who to visit on Sunday and who the preacher went to eat lunch with after church. So he was having problems, and he came up with a solution. He started making stuff up. And some of the funniest columns you will ever read, where he created these fictional characters who would interact with real characters in the community. Billy Joe and Bubba Earl and their adventures. And one of them's mother was Early Pearl, and I can't remember what else. But anyway, and now there are a dozen, I'm sure you go more than this, but there are a dozen columns on the festival's website, purplehull.com. Or do a search for Glenn Eads. And way back when Mike was still at the paper, he gave me permission to reprint those. It's a dozen columns. One of them is, we call it Brewster Christmas. Because it was written around Christmas time in 90 or 91, I believe. And it's a really poignant story that he came up with and put down on paper, and got in the newspaper. But Billy Joe and Bubba Earl and their adventures with various people in the community is really rivals Twain. It really does. I encourage everybody to go look that up. Well, if nothing else, I thank you very much. Y'all come on down to Emerson on June 25th.